And we are live. Hello, and thanks for tuning in. This is the SuperBoss Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Harrison, and I'm joined by Ian Eatwell.
Hey.
And Luc Tran.
Hello.
For those of you that are new, we talk about what's going on in the nerd world, ranging from movies, comics, to video games. And this week, it's a pretty big topic, I'd say. We're kind of basing this off of the Game Awards list, just their nominations. So we're just going to kind of feel it out. I don't remember if we did this last time, but essentially we'll do like a predictions on each category. And we'll just kind of run through, just talk about it. Because this is pretty much how 2020 is going at this rate. I'm just figuring out my shit. But I'm looking at the list and we already talked about it. We're all just going to kind of skip over esports because I, for one, don't follow like at all. And so I don't know about you guys, but I think we don't have much to say.
We're doing the ones we care about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Essentially. Which is everything above that.
It's about games, not about people who play games.
Yeah, so we'll probably just do the games. Just a little bit easier. And we'll just kind of get right into it, just because this might take a little longer than our other episodes. You boys ready?
Uh-huh.
Let's get into it. So, starting, and then just go on the site if you guys want to just follow along. But essentially, we're going to start with Best Debut Game. For the best debut game created by a new independent studio. So we have Carrion.
I only know 4 of these, actually. Like, I'm straight up, I recognize 4 of these. I don't know what Roki is.
Yeah, because we have like Carrion, Mortal Shell, Raji, an Ancient Epic, Roki, and then Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I only know 3 of these.
I feel like Phasmophobia is probably the biggest one that people know, because I think it had the best Twitch presence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, because I've seen Carrion, I've seen Mortal Shell, I've seen Raji, and I've seen Phasmophobia.
I've only seen 2.
4-3-2. It's perfect.
4-3-2. So I was like, all right, the boys can carry me on this one. Because I only know of Mortal Shell and Phasmophobia. I may have seen Raji because it kind of looks familiar, but honestly not really.
I saw a few of the people that I watch play Carrion. Carrion. Mortal Shell just came out without me even knowing about it.
Which is funny because you were the one who was like, dude, check out Mortal Shell.
Yeah, right. Shows how like plugged into I am on the like whatever the new shit is. So I'd probably say Phasmophobia is the best that I would do.
Yeah.
That's probably the best debut for me.
Yeah, I think
just because I heard about it, it was everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I think I just heard. Yeah, I think the same as Ian. I just heard more about it, so I feel like that'd be the one for me as well.
I haven't gotten to play any of these either, so I don't.
Yeah,
I can't put an opinion of like.
I would actually pick Mortal Shell for my best debut game. Like, a lot of people will make comparisons to, it's like a Dark Souls game. Which, fine, sure, whatever. But it's also, like, Mortal Shell was a pretty polished game. Like, they had... The voice acting was really good. The music was pretty good. And they did have, like, their kind of twist on Souls-like combat was actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think overall it was a pretty good game. Like, it was pretty short from what I remember.
Yeah.
But it was all pretty good. And Phasmophobia, I think, has a few things going good for it. But it just looks really wonky. The gameplay loop, I think, is interesting. But you kind of need more people to play, because I watched my girlfriend play with multiple groups, and it's like, with one person she played with, it just wasn't fun. And then she played with a different person, and I think a different group, and they had more fun. And it's kind of a game where I feel like the game kind of got carried by like having funny or interesting people play it, and
Yeah,
playing
like on
it by playing it on your own if your group isn't like fun or into playing horror games, it actually probably I don't think is that good.
Mm.
And especially like, and this is kind of more on the nitpicky side, but just the way that they animated the characters, it looks like a PS2 style game.
It looks pretty
because they don't bend right, so they just kind of fold at the waist, and it's a little more sloppy.
Yeah, it looks pretty jank in comparison.
Yeah, because I mean, isn't Phasmophobia also technically still in open access or early access?
I was gonna ask you guys.
I don't think it should belong there then.
I got no idea.
Yeah,
but like it's definitely, I think at still this point an early access game, whereas Mortal Shell came out like this is our official release.
yeah.
So I think that's kind of what pushes it over the edge for me.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the only two I know of. Like I didn't follow the other ones.
Like Roki and Raji. I mean, with Raji, it was like it's a pretty game. But it's, I guess it doesn't. It's hard to stand out like with these more narrative-driven games.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to like be a super standout debut because it's, I think, more binary of your game was good or it's bad because it's your writing was good or bad. And if your writing is good, then yeah, good job. But you don't really stand out amongst other games that came out.
Yeah. You know what? I think I will flip it. I think Mortal Shell, because you're right, it is a little more polished, and I think for me it was just more like hearing about it was like a lot cooler. I was way more interested in getting it because Ian mentioned it, if he remembers. But
I am also going to switch mine.
Yes.
But not to Mortal Shell. I'm switching to Carrion.
Oh,
all right, fair enough.
what's your reason?
Well, so at first I was like, best debut game. All right, so it's like the one with the biggest debut, but it's not the biggest debut, it's the best debut game. The Phasmophobia looks like it looks like a Gmod.
You're not wrong.
It doesn't look
that's what it feels like.
good. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure, like,
yeah,
people put a lot of work into it, but like physically it does not
look
pretty.
I think it's like 3 people, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're pretty small studios, so like props to them, but
yeah,
it needs some work.
Carrion was really good in that it was really unique. So like if this is their like debut game as a new independent studio, Carrion kind of like, it was really unique from other games. It stood out in its gameplay and its style as well.
Yeah, that's what I really like. Its aesthetic.
Yeah.
And like it was a really strong like, hey, here's our game.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of Carrion, so I know how that plays and looks.
Hell yeah.
I haven't seen any of Mortal Shell, so I don't want to like
I got
say that. Yeah. If I'd played Mortal Shell, maybe it'd be Mortal Shell, but for me, it's Carrion.
Cool. All right, so Carrion and then 2 Mortal Shells. Got it. All right. And then next one, we'll just kind of skip content creator because we don't follow enough. Like, I only know one person, and I won't follow anyone else. So, cool.
Best multiplayer.
Best multiplayer.
What a beard.
Okay, best multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. And there's Animal Crossing, Among Us, Call of Duty Warzone, Fall Guys, and Valorant.
Dude, it has to be Fall Guys for me.
Fall Guys for you. All right.
Why is that?
Yeah, why's that?
Out of all the ones that I have played, that's the one I had the most fun on. Consistently,
yeah. All right. Because I actually don't think Animal Crossing should even be on this. As a
I kind of agree also, but maybe
sad.
not for this same reason, but like Animal Crossing kind of had its time. And I feel like probably after like the summer update, it's just kind of been
fell off
there.
Yeah. I'm sure there's people that still play
it's more of it's there because this year was such a weird year. We didn't have a lot of big releases.
Yeah.
A lot of releases got pushed. So it's like, yeah, technically you can play online with New Horizons, just throw it up there.
But the online was just that great. Like,
Yeah, it was
we
also
couldn't
bad.
connect.
It was
We
also-
straight
well-
up couldn't play with each other.
I think that's maybe just our
But it could just be us.
internet.
Who knows? Yeah. But
But yeah,
I've heard
I agree.
like other I've heard
playing,
other things too,
playing
so,
online was kind of a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So is yours just you had the most fun with Fall Guys, Ian?
Yeah. It looks the best. I had the most fun playing it. I probably
Okay.
played it the most out of all these
Mhm.
games.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
on the one hand, I really want to agree with you because I do really like Fall Guys. Like we had that moment like a month ago where we just decided to play Fall Guys randomly with one of our friends,
Mhm.
and we had like a blast.
Yeah.
But the big thing for me with multiplayer games is like being able to play with your friends,
Mhm.
and kind of like in New Horizons, it's not as bad as New Horizons, but playing multiplayer in Fall Guys kind of sucks
Mm-hmm.
because it's like I feel like it's the most fun when everybody's consistently playing and making it to the final levels, and someone gets knocked out early. It's that debate of like, okay, do we back out since it's just the first map,
Yeah.
or like do we keep going and they just watch us basically?
Yeah.
Because my vote is Among Us, because the lobbies are big enough where you can have a big group of people play, and I do like. So I'm a big fan of board games, and I think Among Us kind of touches on what board games can do, in that playing Among Us, there's no like mechanical skill involved.
Right.
It's all about like how well can you play social deduction type game. And I think that's way more easy for literally anybody to play. Whereas in Fall Guys, like there is some mechanical know-how involved,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an element of funky randomness that can happen where like, oh, this guy's cheating or whatever. Or this guy knows how to abuse the way the map physics works. And it can kind of throw off like the enjoyment. Like I really like Fall Guys, but I think just because Among Us is way more accessible, you can play with your friends a lot more easily, and because it is a different multiplayer game in that there is no mechanical knowledge involved, that's probably why I'm picking Among Us.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
like for
yeah.
the other two, I guess I just kind of want to not necessarily shit on, but put down some of the other games, kind of like what we do with Animal Crossing. But like Call of Duty's Call of Duty.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be there, but I don't think it's necessarily the best. And also, Valorant, I think, kind of like with New Horizons, Valorant had its moment, and then just kind of died. Like
Yeah.
it didn't necessarily keel over and die, but
Well, you
today,
don't hear about it as much.
Yeah, like
You
today,
really don't.
I was just browsing Twitch while I was working, and I saw Riot was doing like a Valorant event or whatever, and it had like 1.3K viewers. And so Valorant, I
Valid.
think, had the hype in that, oh my god, Riot Games actually has another game. It's not
Mhm.
just Riot Game, and then people played it. And then, hey, where's the ranking system? Oh, we don't have one in place yet.
Yeah.
So just keep playing casual. Oh, okay. Never mind. And then it died.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say
Not to say you don't need a competitive scene, but if you're in a shooter, you
No,
almost
need
kind
one.
of need a competitive,
You need it.
especially if not even if you're directly making that comparison, but when your fans are comparing, oh, this is going to be like CS:GO, and CS:GO has one of the most robust competitive scenes. You need a competitive scene like on release almost.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't think. I also just don't like Valorant as a shooter, but whatever. But yeah, Among Us, Fallout, Fall Guys is
Fallout.
a close second.
All right. So Among Us for Luke. Cool. Yeah, to me, Animal Crossing has its issues, and it's not like I wouldn't say like the best. Like it's a fun game, but not I wouldn't say best multiplayer game. I'm between. I will say I'm also between Among Us and Fall Guys, because Warzone, like, I'm sure it's fun. I mean, I did play a little bit, but not like. I think it's obviously more fun with more people, but I'm not gonna play it. And Valorant, I just haven't played enough either. So that's my main thing is with those because I like FPS, but I haven't stuck with those obviously. I will agree with Luke, and that's the reason why I think Among Us. I like Among Us for this is because Fall Guys. It's like when people get into it, like they'll have fun, but I think accessibility for like Among Us is just easier to get people to play. And I think it's just really cool to see like, oh, one time we had like a few people get on and some of them were like, oh, can I play on my phone? I'm like, yeah, just do it. It's fine. And it works. Right. The only reason why it took so long is just because of servers, but it's not the game itself. That was like, it's not like there's an issue with playing between like a PC and phone. Right. So I think that was just really cool to have. And I think that just, I mean, and I think I had a lot of fun with it because it was just like, oh, more people can play versus just like 4. And I think that was always the issue with Fall Guys because it had its moment when we're all like, oh, let's all get on. And then we realized, oh, we're capped. It's kind of the same with like a lot of BRs and that, like, oh, we're capped. All right, cool. I'm just going to chill. So I think Among Us just has that little edge for me. All right. Any last thoughts or should we just move on to the next one?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Gucci. Best sports and racing game. All right.
See, I actually have a point to make.
Whoa. All right.
And it's mainly just like, so FIFA games, I think, are just derivatives of themselves.
Yeah.
Like FIFA 21 is probably the same as FIFA 20 and 19, 18, 17, 16, whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of the same with NBA games.
Mm-hmm.
Like best sports for me, I'm probably going to pick Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yes.
Because, and it's more of like, oh, it's not a real sport. No, it's an extreme sport. But I think it's more enjoyable for me, and this is just my personal take, is because it has that degree of freedom in that it's not just a binary you win or you lose. Because so the other nominations, it's Dirt 5, F1 2020, FIFA 21, NBA 2K 21. And the thing I like about, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, if I didn't say that already. The thing I like about those is, one, it's a game where you have a lot of creative control because you're choosing your own like tricks and your trick strings. And it makes it more interesting when people have competitions with that game. Mm-hmm. Because if you're playing any of those other sport games competitively, it's just, I won, you lost, whatever. And you kind of have that with Tony Hawk, except it's more of my trick string was longer than your overall score. Because on Twitch for a while, there was a competition just to see who gets the longest single trick chain.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, more interesting to see competition come from using the game mechanics than just the game is about racing. You get first or second.
Like place and like final score and all that. Yeah.
That's my only 2 cents thrown about sports because I do not play sports games.
I played Tony Hawk back in the day, so that's probably where my vote would be. Only because I played it. The old one.
Yeah,
But other than that, I got nothing to say.
Yeah. So I don't think Tony Hawk's gonna win, but I want it. Like that's my vote, just because I love that. I played, I think 1 and 2 at my cousin's place, and it was just so much fucking fun. And I've been debating on getting it, just because it's been so long, and I'm like, kind of want to, because all the other ones, it's really like most sport games just has this issue where I think this is like the perfect time for a sport game to be like a games as a service, but they just won't. As like go fully
for real.
Like they're the ones I'm like, you should definitely do it. Jesus fuck.
Yeah.
But so I mean, they all, to me, there's like always little things where I think Tony Hawk just shines in that, like, oh, it's finally just something like Luke said, it's something different. And I just think I just had more fun with
I also just want to say, it's kind of sad when your genre is just like, or your category is 2 completely separate genres because the games in there are so little, because you're comparing a racing game to a basketball game to a skateboarding game, and it's just like, you should pick, here are the best sports games and here are the best racing games because completely different games. But whatever. I don't make these awards.
But I think the pool is also just small.
Yeah, the pool is also minuscule. I bet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Because but so cool. We're all saying Tony. It's fine. It was expected with this one because we don't play sports games really. Next one. Best sim strategy. Best game focused on real time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Crusader Kings, Desperados 3, Gear Tactics, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and XCOM Chimera Squad.
Microsoft, why? Microsoft Flight Simulator?
It's because it's a sim. They just have to put
it's I guess it's kind of like sports and racing where like
they just don't
the
have
pool of games is so small they just have to throw it in there.
Yeah. Pretty much. I think that's what happened. I just want to say Flight Simulator just to say fuck it.
I feel like people would do that kind of like as the joke, and it does win.
And I have a feeling, which is hilarious.
My actual one is probably Crusader Kings 3.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the Bethesda games, where the modding scene for Crusader Kings basically just morphs it into another game. Because the base game itself for Crusader Kings 3 is really fun, and it does capture that kind of feeling of like when you're playing Civ, like, oh, one more turn, whatever, and then you play for an extra 3 hours. That's kind of how Crusader Kings feels, is you get into the flow of like, okay, I'm doing this. I got to wage war here. I got to solidify my alliance there. And it just keeps going. And the base game is amazing. And then you just tack on mods on top of that. And it's, like you can get hundreds of hours of replayability with that game. And that's probably my pick. That's also saying, like, I don't know much about the other games.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Chimera Squad is. Besides, I know XCOM.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I would rather just like, hey, here's XCOM 3, woohoo.
Right.
Like, Flight Simulator's a joke to me. It's good, but I think it's just a funny joke. Gears Tactics, whatever. Desperados 3, whatever. It's definitely Crusader Kings 3 for me.
Yeah. Ian?
Dude, I don't know. All these categories are not
great. I think that's why they're at the bottom.
That's what they're at the bottom. Yeah. That's where we're going for bottom.
I really loved XCOM, so I'll just say, for the sake of difference, XCOM Chimera Squad.
All right.
Crusader Kings 3 is great too.
Yeah, it is. But I'm just putting for me, Flight Simulator, but I feel like Crusaders. But I'm saying Flight. All right, next one. Best family. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. Animal Crossing, Crash Bandicoot 4, Fall Guys, Mario Kart, Minecraft Dungeons, and Paper Mario, the Origami King. Off the bat, I'm saying Animal Crossing for this one.
I think me too.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Because,
like, it is a game where, like, one, a kid can just play by themselves, they can do whatever, and they have goals in it. Sure. They can do whatever they want. And it's soft time gates you, so, like, if you're worried about your kid playing too much, eventually they'll just run out of things to do, unless for some reason they have that, like, MMO grind fest mentality.
Right.
Yeah. And you can also, like, you can play, and you can, like, help out your kid by, oh, I buried bells here or whatever. And it's like, it's fun and interesting.
Yeah.
There's a modicum of learning because you can talk to Blathers and he'll talk to you about bugs and fish. But, like, so Crash Bandicoot 4.
Yeah.
It almost felt like nostalgia bait to me. And so I'm sure kids don't really care. Like, if you went to, like, a 9 or 10 or 11-year-old kid, like, hey, who's Crash Bandicoot? Do you think they would know? And maybe they do, but it's like, Crash Bandicoot, I think, is definitely a relic from an older age of gaming. And so I think it's mainly geared toward nostalgia baiting.
Yeah.
Fall Guys, I think it's just infuriating play for your kid.
Yeah, probably.
Because you're just getting styled on by these people who know, like, speedrun strats, or you're just getting griefed.
Oh, I disagree. I think most of the people playing those like speedrun strats are kids.
You think so?
Yeah,
think so?
100%. Not all of them, but most of them.
Huh.
Like speedrunning's a young person's game.
Ah,
I'll see like in the speedrunning stuff.
I'm gonna
Like I'll see
disagree
like
completely.
I
kids.
disagree with that.
I'll see kids like 16, 17, 18 doing some wild stuff in these games.
Oh, I guess that's due to caveat. You said 16, 17, 18. I'm like thinking like kids, like younger.
I still
than that.
like,
But even then,
and maybe it's because it's like a GDC event, and maybe you have to be a certain age. But the speedrunners I see who go like and are their job is to speedrun are generally older people.
Mm.
So maybe that's just where I get confused.
I mean,
But you might be right. But we also tend to watch different speedrunning like categories,
yeah.
or I guess games.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Fall Guys. Like, there's a certain age of kids I think who would love that game,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like on the flip side, like if you're trying to play with your kid and you have like boomer mechanics and you don't know you don't know how to play a game, you're probably not having fun, and your kid's just kicking your ass.
Yeah.
Mario
And
Kart. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even with on Fall Guys, it's like I'm sure if they're not doing well, they're probably like someone will just quit. And that's like not just saying like kids. I'm saying like everyone. Like if they're not doing well, they won't play for so long. So it's like if you try to play with your kid, for instance, like most likely they'll just either sit out, and you're probably just playing by yourself at that point.
Yeah, and I was like going down the list. Mario Kart's Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Animal Crossing is definitely the most like peaceful and casual. I don't know, like I know Minecraft is a thing. I don't explicitly know what Minecraft Dungeons is for or like what it is.
It's basically like a
Minecraft Diablo.
It's top down.
essentially.
Yeah, it's basically Diablo.
Jesus.
Yeah, essentially.
Minecraft Diablo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just wanted to.
Like I mean, if your
It
kid's
looks
really into
fun.
Minecraft, then sure.
Yeah.
But and then Paper Mario is also like I mentioned
Dude,
2 or 3
it's-
months ago about Paper Mario. It's that franchise where you have people just extremely bitter that
is
Paper
not the
Mario
OG.
isn't like this isn't the 1,000-year door. We hate it. And so they're not like I don't see kids like playing Paper Mario. At least this Paper Mario game.
I was gonna say it's more likely I can see them as like here's a Paper Mario game for the kid. I can see that happening, and they'll probably just play it. But I wouldn't expect too much from that.
Because at that point, I'd just be like, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ian.
I think if it has the writing from the previous ones, I also don't think. I mean, maybe my parents were just more. What's the word? They're more
Concerned. Active.
not really concerned. They just thought it was stupid.
Ah.
So I feel like they would not have fun watching or playing it. They're like, this
Yeah.
writing's bad. And I was like, what? This is so funny. Little
But it's so
10-year-old me
funny.
playing like the
But that's
first
the
one or
whole
whatever.
point. I mean, I was gonna say my parents just thought everything I did was stupid.
Oh,
but-
sure.
Hell yeah.
That's not enough. I don't think
Yeah,
that'd
but-
stop a kid from playing it. But
But this is family.
I think Animal Crossing would.
Yeah, like as a family, I think it's kind of head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Wait, are we all agreeing on that one?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't hear.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Cool. More or less. All right. Best fighting game.
I just want to point out. So it's best. I'm going to take over just for a second, Harrison,
Go.
because
No,
I
do
have
it.
to say this.
Do it.
Best fighting is the category for the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. The nominations are Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, and my absolute favorite one, Under Night in Birth EXE, Late, and then bracket CL-R, close bracket.
Mm-hmm.
By
That's the
French
anime
bread.
fighting game.
By French bread. Like everything about that game just screams out to me like this is probably garbage because it has that obnoxious anime title and the studio is just French bread. I love it.
Hey, but Arc Systems.
Oh, wait, Arc
works.
Systems works on it too.
They
What
do,
the
but
fuck?
like I think French
But
Bread's
it's
first,
but it's like
so it's probably
French. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Arc Systems probably did like support development.
because they actually did Grand Blue.
It's mainly just pointing out. So the title is
The title's
ridiculous
so
because it
dumb.
follows that
Title so dumb.
Fate Stay Night, Fate whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But also
Like
just
that.
because the image they used is super anime.
It's anime, but it's funny because I haven't heard anything about that. But I know One Punch Man was actually bad.
You know that.
Oh, was it? That's
Bad.
Actually bad. Like legitimately.
It was bad fighting, but also graphically. And this is like all they had like a trend of anime fighting games because they had One Punch Man, they had Jump Force.
Yep.
Um,
Oh my god. My Hero.
My Hero. All of those are legitimate GameCube level graphics. It's
Yep.
just bad.
Yep.
So I don't know why anyone would want to play those
Yeah.
because
This is kind of a joke of a category this year, to be honest.
it's just like, hey, anime is cool, right? Let's use anime, and then we actually don't know how to make a fighting game.
Because it's always like, oh, this is cool, and then once you actually see the game, you're like, nope, it went as expected.
I mean, in terms of popularity, I don't think anyone's ever beat out Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and Tekken. Those have been kind of like the top
Yeah.
three for
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
while.
like if you even just look at what shows up at Evo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although like Evo is probably Street Fighter. Like Street Fighter or Marvel vs. Capcom
Mm-hmm.
is like the big name.
But I've looked into more MK11 more, and I think this year I think it's actually pretty cool, especially with like they did like I think it was a DLC or something that was like the aftermath or something like that of like the whole thing, and I just thought that was cool. I'm like, all right, cool, sweet. I played through that, but why I played it all the time? No.
What do you
but
mean? Like what? Aftermath what?
No,
What
no,
was it?
it was just like a DLC, like follow up to the story type of deal.
Yeah, like an
Oh,
after
okay.
story type thing.
Yeah,
Cool.
because I thought the story premise was actually cool. Like it was
Mhm.
like future past deal. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Oh wait, is this the one with the like that one chick, the like the mother of time or whatever?
I think we're talking about the same.
Where it's like like the future and past people like meet up.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, okay. No, that yeah. That was funny. Sorry, Mortal Kombat's story has been like all over the place.
It's
It
ridiculous,
is-
but I mean,
it's all over.
I think they've
the place.
embraced how wonky
They have.
it is.
They
Yeah.
have.
Which I mean, I'm like cool.
And I guess like putting it out there, I'm probably gonna pick Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
Mm.
One, because the story is ridiculous and I think they've accepted and rolled with it. Unlike
Mhm.
Street Fighter stories
It's
tend to
just-
get really weird too, but it's like
But
very anime weird.
yeah.
Mhm.
And also because Mortal Kombat 11 had some crazy crossovers. Like they have RoboCop,
They have RoboCop
Yep.
in it.
um,
They had one more. I can't remember.
Rambo.
Rambo,
They have the
that's-
Terminator.
Mhm. It was some fun. Yeah, it was some fun crossover.
Yeah, that's
so.
like they've embraced how
Yeah.
corny it is, and I can appreciate that. Plus, like, I off the top of my head, I just instinctively know if it's an anime type fighting game, garbage.
Mm.
Don't talk to me about it. So that automatically writes off One Punch Man, Under Night in Birth EXE, Late Clear, and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Although I've heard
No,
maybe
Blue's-
Grand Blue Fantasy as
Yeah.
a series
No, I was
is
gonna say,
good.
Grand Blue's good.
My vote's actually Grand Blue Fantasy. I
Yeah.
watched a bit of fights on that,
Mhm.
and it actually looks really good.
It's good. Yeah.
Especially for like I don't know. I think it was at first a game that was then made into an anime. Maybe.
Mhm.
Like a story game, not a fighting game, but I don't actually know. All I know is I tried to watch the anime for a bit and I was like, "Oh, okay. This is a thing." And then all of a sudden a fighting game came out about it. I was like, "Oh, whoa. All right. Maybe this is like bigger in Japan and I just don't know about it or something."
Yeah, it's like way bigger. Yeah,
And
I
it's
would have
like-
chosen that, but I think I just had more fun following Mortal Kombat 11
Mm.
this year. But you're going to put Grand Blue, Ian?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna say Grand Blue. They have really cool. There's a lot of cool like. How do I put this? There's a lot of cool like footsie stuff and
What? Oh, okay.
a lot of
yeah, I
like,
had to like process that too. Huh?
in terms of gameplay. Yeah,
Yeah, for, like, the
nasty, dirty people.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you ask almost everybody, hey, what's a footsie? They're not going to say, oh, it's the spacing gameplay in fighting games. They're going to say it's when you touch bare feet together.
Those
So, yeah,
people
took
aren't
me
my
a
kind
moment.
of people. But yeah, Grand Blue.
See,
Got it.
if Guilty Gear came out and it was there, 100% I'd vote Guilty Gear. But it's not there.
But
So
it's
I'm
not
voting
there.
Mortal Kombat.
Isn't that like next year or something?
I don't even
Or
know
even-
anymore. I stopped paying attention because I don't even know.
Yeah,
I just want to play it when it comes out.
same. All right. If we're done with that, moving on. Let's see. Best role-playing game. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massive multiplayer experiences. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royale, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. Is that 7? I don't remember.
I don't know how the games interact with each other. For like you're talking about Yakuza, right?
Yeah.
I just know there's like 14 Yakuza games.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a shitload.
Okay.
Because they've only
There's
just in the past
spin-offs.
like 3 years started porting over.
The first like 3.
Yeah, like
So-
and like basically remaking or remastering them to
Mhm.
like a Western audience. Because yeah, in Japan there's a bunch of them, but I think in the US there's maybe like 6 or 7 you can play.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? I'd actually knock off Genshin and Wasteland on this one. So it'd be
I
like
would too.
between.
Mostly
don't-
because I never played either
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Wasteland.
I only heard a little bit, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
It was okay. It wasn't like that great.
I'd
honestly.
probably knock it. I'd also probably knock Persona 5 Royal
Royal,
and
yeah.
Final Fantasy 7. Basically leaving Genshin Impact or Yakuza for me.
Huh.
And like for me for Persona it's like we already had Persona
Yeah.
5. Royal
Yeah.
is like
An expansion. Right?
it adds it's more content,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like anything new.
Yeah, like it's essentially Persona 5 Plus.
Yeah, it's like we're just gonna have the female MC character replacement basically show up, and then we'll have an extra I think 3 months of gameplay, like 3 in-game months. So
Yeah.
it's whatever.
Oh.
I don't think it should be there.
Interesting. For the wording on this category, it's best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experience.
Is Wasteland 3 an MMO?
Yeah, it's not MMO, but it's I think it's co-op. I think it's a four-person
okay.
co-op. So and then Genshin you can too technically.
Right.
So I think that's why they mentioned that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't played any of these games, so I don't know, man.
I think I'd
mean,
probably
you could
pick
just even say
Yakuza
what you think.
actually.
Yeah.
I've been watching some streamers I watch. They started picking up Yakuza,
Mhm.
and one like in a game where you already have ridiculous, like the other Yakuza games that came out recently, they're ridiculous. Like a Dragon is
Is
especially ridiculous.
yeah.
and also I
100%.
think it does follow what the category is in that there's rich player character customization and progression, whereas I don't think any other games really do that because
So like the more we talk about it,
I think I'm gonna pick Yakuza is definitely for me, but go ahead,
yeah.
Harrison.
No, I was gonna say my 2 that I've narrowed it down now would be because you're right with Persona 5. It feels like it's already the same game, so I'm knocking that one out. For me, it would be between Final Fantasy 7 and Yakuza because it was it's still because even with 7, it still has like the progression. It's just not this. It's not this because I followed Yakuza as well. It's not exactly the same, but it's still to me. And I think I only lean more towards Final Fantasy 7 just because I played it. While like Yakuza, I haven't yet. I've only seen a little bit because I do want to play it. I want to get it eventually. So that's the hard part for me. I'm like between the two still.
I think, Ian, if you ever got into the Yakuza games, if you haven't already,
this is the one.
they're your games. Like 100%, they're your games.
They look super fun, yeah.
But yeah, my pick is like Yakuza Like a Dragon because it is kind of the quintessential RPG in that you have a main character and you have a rotating cast of characters who you can swap on the fly for your party members, and everybody can swap. I think from what I've seen, there's 7 classes you can like choose between.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of content you can do in the game is basically like, hey, here are 3 different games in one game. Because there's the main story, there's this ridiculous side plot of you becoming like a business magnate, and then there's this like dungeon crawling scheme.
Yep.
Yeah, Yakuza Like a Dragon for me definitely is best RPG of the year.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. I haven't played any of these still.
Yep. Also, we have 60 more categories to go.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll blitz them.
Yeah.
All right.
Because eventually it's all gonna like mesh together. Like if you looked at the list, they're all gonna become the same.
Eventually you get to like the same 5 fucking games for every category.
Yeah. And that's
It's
also
like,
why
all
we
right.
skip the whole intro thing we usually do. So
Mm-hmm.
I figured this one would be longer anyway. I think I'm leaning more towards 7 just because it's kind of the same deal. You have your like the main character rotating cast. I just think I just had more fun with like and this is also me just saying like I played it, so I think there's some bias towards that I will say. Because I haven't played Yakuza yet as much as I want to. And I think I just had more fun with that role playing experience just because it was fun to like mess around with the weapons and like actually progressing through each one on that front. So that's my vote, at least, for this. Ian, do you want to just put a vote?
just roll a dice.
I wanted to make some people happy and say Persona 5 Royale.
Okay.
Okay.
You've made me mad.
That's okay.
I know who
Me angry.
Me angry. Okay. Cool.
Moving on.
Best action adventure. For the best action adventure game combining combat and traversal and puzzle solving. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and Last of Us Part 2.
Combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, I want to say Spider-Man. Or Ori.
Huh. I'm between Ghost and Ori on this one, actually. But that's also premise. I've only really touched Ori. I haven't bought Ghost yet, but I've seen like a lot of gameplay where.
I'm trying to think. Because like,
no, go on.
At least for me, it's like, one, I feel like unless it's a specific puzzle game, anytime there's a puzzle in a game, it's like baby's first puzzle, and it's usually pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just like a bunk thing to include for action adventure.
Right.
But I kind of get what they're going for.
I think they're trying to like the puzzles that you would find in Nathan Drake.
Yeah. Okay.
Games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get you.
That's like the epitome of an action adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me it's between Miles Morales and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And it's like for different things.
Yeah.
Because for Miles Morales, I really like the traversal. Like I think that's the number one point. Combat's like fun, I guess. It follows that Arkham, like Batman Arkham Asylum type dealio.
Yeah.
And then like because with Ori, the combat I think is kind of dull, but the traversal and puzzle solving I think is really good in Ori.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess my main thing is just more with Ori. Like, combat is not. I like the combat at least with that. And then I think the plus is always just the traversal plus combat because it's like you kind of do both, right? It just feels like you you have to move around to do the combat. I don't know how to explain that well, but because like with Spider-Man, it feels more like the traditional like Batman Arkham, while like I think Ori just has like that plus. I don't know what it is.
It's especially because like I would almost put Ori in as like a platforming game more than an action adventure. Oh, and this is granted, like I don't know Will o' the Wisps nearly as much as I do the first one, which I completely blanked on the name. Ori and the
Blind Forest.
Blind Forest, yeah. Like it definitely feels more platformy, which isn't bad. Like I like platformers, but not an action adventure type. So yeah, I think I would actually pick Miles Morales because I think, like, I really like the Ori franchise, but it's a platformer to me, not action adventure. So I'm just being semantic about it.
Yeah, I'm still gonna say Ori on this one. I think on that front, just because I think there's just, to me, like there's platforming and then there's more than that. Like to me, it's more action than platforming because it's like when I think of platform, I think of like Mario. I don't know why with that, but all right.
You don't know why? Because Mario's like the penultimate platform.
No. I mean more for Ori. I meant like I don't know why for. Sorry. Yes, because Mario. Yeah, but
I'm just messing with.
There's a plus for Ori for me.
What would I pick?
What would you pick?
I'm gonna make everybody just mad and
Spider-Man.
say Last of Us Part 2.
I'm gonna walk away from my microphone.
Do it.
Honestly, it will probably win that. It will probably win, and it will kind of.
I actually don't think so.
I want to say. I'm gonna flip heads, turn tables, and completely change direction again. I'm a wild card. I'm a wild card on this panel.
Wild.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
I think that's I think at least in this category, Fallen Order I think is better than Last of Us Part 2. And a lot of this is paraphrased from a YouTuber named Nakey Jakey who kind of broke down Naughty Dog games, but puzzles in Last of Us Part 2 literally don't exist. It's, hey, you need to go up, so here's a ladder, so pick up the ladder and move it to the spot you need to go. It's like, okay, cool. I feel like Fallen Order, I never watched or played all of it, but I've seen enough where like the puzzles are actually relatively engaging compared to Last of Us.
I could also see an argument for the definition of puzzle solving for any of these like Last of Us or Assassins or Ghost or even Spider-Man. Actually, all of them. Sorry, never mind. Just all of them.
All of them.
A definition of puzzle solving would be you walk up, oh, there's a group of enemies here. How am I gonna like navigate this situation? That in of itself is a like puzzle because you're having to figure out what am I doing here.
So that's what I was thinking with this. That's why I wasn't like thinking like, oh, like Nathan Drake's like puzzles, like, because I think it's moved away from like legitimate like, oh, here's a puzzle section of the game, right? Like, oh, you gotta like put these boxes. I think it's moved more away from that and it's more seamless. So
see, I was thinking of like the old Assassin's Creed like optional quests, like, oh, here's how to get the best armor in the game. Like using Unity as an example, it was legit like, hey, we're gonna have this cryptic poem about a landmark and you have to decipher where this landmark is. And I thought like that to me is pretty like cool puzzle solving and not just, all right, there's 12 guys, here's their patrol routes, I need to do this to do that. That's more like stealthy to me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm sticking to the traditional puzzle solving type thing. And I feel like Fallen Order does have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does for sure. But
yeah.
Star Wars.
All right.
Cool.
Fair.
Locked in,
fair.
baby.
Locked in.
Final answer.
All right. Next
Fast
category.
and Furious.
Best action. For the best game in action genre focused primarily on combat. Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, Streets of Rage 4. For anyone that listens to us, we all know what's this one, right?
I'm trying to remember Streets of Rage. Like, I feel like
It's-
I've played some of the old games.
Yeah. It's just the beat 'em up.
It's beat 'em up, right?
Yeah, it's a beat 'em up. And I played it on the Game Pass. It was fun, but not as much fun as Hades.
It's also like a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how Ian has his attitude of like the hack and slashy Dynasty Warriors type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how I feel about beat 'em ups.
Just
Like
not your
it's
genre.
more of the like Castle Crashers is the exception to the rule, mainly because like the art and how quirky it was.
Yeah. Dude,
It's
the
a-
writing in Castle Crashers was so good
It was so fun. It was great.
that
Yeah, and like it's kind of the exception for me.
dog. I'm not gonna say Neo 2 because I've only played the first one,
Mm-hmm.
but God, do I want to play the second one?
Neo
Also-
2 looks amazing. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm gonna say Doom Eternal.
Really?
bold,
really?
bold words.
Wow.
I don't
Alright.
like Doom Eternal that much.
I don't think like watching it more. I don't think I like it as much as the 2016. So that, I mean, that's just maybe just me,
like,
but
I-
that's just my thing.
They like Doom Eternal, as like as weird as it sounds, plays more video gamey than Doom 2016, and I really don't like it. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what stops me from really enjoying it, because they took like, oh, now every enemy has a weak point, and you need to attack the weak point to do damage.
Versus just like shooting.
Yeah,
Right,
or like,
yeah.
hey, a new enemy appeared. We're gonna do a tutorial for you every time.
Jeez, yeah, that's
Just
what
like,
that's what
please
annoyed me
stop.
too. I was just like, this is not cool.
Because I think the minute to minute gameplay is really crisp on Doom Eternal, but the fact that I can't just brute force enemies like you could in Doom 2016,
Mhm.
and the platforming also, I think, detracted from me, because like there were just larger sections of each map to like, here's the platforming section, and Doom's movement is really crisp, but when you have like extended chains of only doing platforming, it's not as satisfying as like you're doing platforming while in combat.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
So this is me just shitting all over you, Ian. Just don't take it personally, but I hate your decision.
That's okay, man.
That's what
will
here
rub
for.
that shit all over me.
Nice.
nice.
That's what I like. I'm discrediting like Half-Life Alyx because one, it's a VR game,
Yeah.
and I think VR games as a whole are so inaccessible for a lot of people. It's kind of
Yep.
unfair.
Yeah.
And it also felt more like, here's a really crisp, really good VR demo. So it's more of like a tech demo than an action. Like it was a game and it had plot and everything, but they were doing it because they wanted to show off VR, not because
Yeah.
they wanted to make another Half-Life game.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing that holds it back for me too, is like it's an amazing VR game, which is what VR needed, honestly. But it's not like the best action, right? Because like watching like playthrough, I think it'd be fun to play on VR. It's always like the thing would always be it's fun on VR. I can't ever say like, oh yeah, I can just recommend for like some good action fun, like I can for like Hades or like Neo 2 even. Sorry, Luke, did you actually say which one you liked? I forgot.
I mean, I'm gonna pick Hades,
Yeah.
but honestly,
Same.
Neo 2 is a pretty close second.
Agreed. Because I'm gonna put Hades as well. Because I only I've watched Neo 2, and I think that's the other thing is like I didn't get to play it. That's probably why I don't put it up as much. And I played Streets of Rage 4, and I mean I had fun, but not as much fun as like Hades, action wise. Because like Streets of Rage is just another beat 'em up, honestly. And
Mhm.
I mean, I like beat 'em ups, but not that much, right? Like I felt like I
Yeah.
had more fun with Hades. Like I actually put way more time in Hades.
Like to me, it's kind of cheating with Hades because it's a good action game, and then you just throw in, hey, you can play your action game 6 different ways,
Yeah.
and then within those 6 different ways, you like there's just way more ways to play the game. Whereas Neo 2, there are just less ways, like there's less customization options.
Right. Yeah.
But I do really like Neo and Neo 2.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So Doom for Ian and Hades for Luke and I. Cool.
Did you play both 2016 and Eternal, Ian, or no?
No. I watched
I feel like
a lot of the most recent one.
Eternal.
Yeah.
I feel like if you went back to watch 2016, you'd probably change your mind and think Eternal is good. But maybe that's just me being incredibly biased. But I think like 2016, I think was amazing. They just couldn't capture it for Eternal.
I get you.
Cool. If anything, gonna move on to what was it?
Yep.
Innovation and accessibility.
What kind of category?
Yeah, this is
oh.
The fact that they have
Sorry, we're just
I was
sorry.
gonna read it and then just like let you guys go.
Go ahead.
But it's to explain for listeners, it's recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience.
How do you have that innovation in accessibility and not have Half-Life Alyx? What are you smoking that you don't have?
Why is Last of Us 2 in here?
Also that.
So here's the thing. So this is the one category I had to read up on because I wanted to get an idea. And Last of Us is more because they actually, so this is the weird part is they claim medium as in like you put like you give. I think one reason was like giving warnings on certain content, like it's like, oh, okay, be aware of this, or like the story wise, and I don't remember.
Oh, I see. So it's making it able to be enjoyed by a wider audience by like giving them like trigger warnings and stuff.
Yeah, or like you can, I guess you can like do certain things where you don't have to deal with. And
okay,
so
like
that's
turning off blood in old Assassin's
like
Creed
that.
or something.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff.
Okay,
it's a weird. This was a weird one, and I didn't know if we want to do this one or just skip it because I didn't even know how to answer this, to be honest.
I just think, I want to answer, but I want to talk some smack to this category because this category is just stupid.
I don't have an answer for this.
I don't have an answer because I know what they're trying to say.
We'll let Luke say.
All right.
We'll let Luke
go on a rant.
You
want me to rant for 5 minutes?
Yeah. Because
it's like, why is Assassin's Creed Valhalla there?
I don't know.
Unless like if they did Valhalla like they did Odyssey and Origins, where there's like, oh, here's the education mode. I think like I don't really like the new Assassin's Creed games, but their education, I don't know what they actually call it. Their education mode, I think, is really cool, and it's like a really interesting thing they could do. And if that's what they're voting in Valhalla for, all the power to them. I think that's fair. Grounded is like, is it accessible because it's kids? It's like a survival Minecraft game, but with real life kids. I don't.
Hold on. Yeah.
Like the software and hardware to me, none of these really capture. Like I almost want to say the third one is Hyperdot because I've never heard of Hyperdot. And looking at it, it looks the most funky, so maybe that's why it's the most innovative. I don't actually know. And like if like what Harrison said.
So Hyperdots, they work closely with disabled members of the gaming community to actually sculpt the experience that most players could engage in. So
Hyperdot, like 100% Hyperdot at that.
All right, yeah.
And then let me see.
Answer done.
Grounded, the team implemented an arachnophobia safe mode so people don't have to worry about that.
That's stupid.
I mean, but I will say I don't want to knock. So the reason why I don't want to knock on this is just because we don't have to deal with it. So I don't want to.
That's fair. I get.
That's the thing. But that's where I'm like, all right. if you're so I think like because some people they want to play the game, but like if for instance like someone legitimately has an issue with it, like a phobia, then
Right.
that's an
Like,
accessibility. So
what if
and then like
it's
colorblind and all that.
what
stuff.
if it's like you're playing? Oh, I want to play Subnautica, but I have thalassophobia. That completely just takes away the entire game at that point, and that's a big stretch from because if you're an arachnophobic or if you have arachnophobia, spiders aren't the main point of Grounded, but they're like the whole thing is that you're shrunk down, so these bugs you would never think to be a problem are a problem, but it's like that seems counterintuitive to me
Yeah, and then
to like remove a core part of the game experience.
yeah, but I mean
That's
that's
my
the
2
thing.
cents.
I'm like if they're willing to make that like adjustment, I think that's why there's a plus for that. And I mean,
I mean, like, okay, so this is where I'm gonna start ranting and do my ridiculous hyperbolic what ifs. What if, like, how some people are with Doom, if you're very religious and you want to have a no demons mode on Doom, is like that's basically they've planted the root of doing that with Grounded. To me, at least.
but
And I
that's
know I know
yeah.
it's a ridiculous thing, but like, whatever. Sorry, that's my rant.
Yeah.
Weren't they actually aliens in like one?
That was the
There was like a
Doom
spin-off?
2005 movie.
Okay.
The movie.
A super religious company funded the movie,
Right.
and so we're like, we don't like demons. Has to be alien instead.
Mm-hmm.
Which is stupid.
Okay.
But, okay, sure.
Okay, so I can see why Last of Us at least, because like Ubisoft's just known for like trying to be more forward thinking with accessibility. At least like with
Wait,
they
are we talking about Valhalla or
both. So according to
Okay.
this, so I'm let me see. Can't remember the article, but I remember I wrote this down. Mostly, it's just because like with Ubisoft, they actually just kind of push for like players are able to like the whole turning off blood or like adjusting certain things to that point. There's not much you can say for Ubisoft because they've done it over time.
Right.
But I think with Last of Us, you can actually let me see. Where is it? Where did I write this down? It was like something about how they offered like 60 options that can be adjusted to like a player's need. So like various like
I do-
visual,
yeah, I
hearing,
remember
and
seeing
modal
something about that.
accessibility. So
Okay.
that's the accessibility part.
Cool.
So I think that's why most people were like, "Oh, Last of Us was actually really good about. Oh, you can actually have like different modes to help people actually just play the game, but not like worry and then have just more accessibility for it." So
All right. Okay.
yeah, so that's I can see why they added this.
Yeah,
It's just such a hard, it's such a weird category because it's so.
It's a weird
honestly,
one.
it's a very
And
it's like there's
especially,
so much
like-
to it.
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like this is something I'm just like thinking of because you mentioned like Ubisoft's always known for trying to be like very inclusive and all that, and I think that's a thing to be celebrated, that a studio is trying to be as welcoming as possible. But it's really funny that they have Valhalla there because I don't want to use the term whitewashing, but Valhalla did a lot of washing away of some of the content you would expect. And you could maybe think of this like with other Assassin's Creed games, but like Vikings were not nice people. And they're trying to paint Ivor as this like heroic Viking character. And
Oh,
that's
I was gonna
fair.
say they don't, but they actually don't. That the advertising was off. I can
Yeah, the advertising was
100%
just garbage.
because
Um,
they were like, oh, there's more to rating. I'm like, no, that's what like playing what I did. I'm like, we raid the entire time. Like that's
Yeah.
false marketing. But like, I think this is more for not like inclusivity like that. I think it's
Yeah, I
more
think
like,
it's just
like
like-
gameplay, like legit gameplay. So
I'd probably still throw it out to Hyperdot,
yeah,
maybe just to like shout him out. And I think that's cool that
hmm
specifically with disabled like players trying to make something that they can enjoy.
yeah.
So yeah, Hyperdot.
Hyperdot. Like I like because I read into it more. Like at the time, I just don't remember the details from my notes. But I think it's just like the fact that Last of Us just puts more of that out. I'm like, all right, cool. Like if like I think at the end of the day, if someone wants to have fun with the game, sure. If they can at least enjoy it to an extent, I think that's a plus. Like having that many options, it's just
Yeah.
a plus. So maybe the one time I'll put down Last of Us. Because otherwise, fuck that. Ian, Hyperdot as well, right? You said?
Oh, dude, I don't.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Cool.
Hyperdot.
Shoot.
Love your effort today.
You're welcome.
Cool. So next one. Okay.
Dude, all right. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, before I move on, is this...
Yeah, next one. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Best VR AR. The best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality.
All right, so I don't have this.
I don't
but
think anyone's... like, none of us have a
100
VR thing. That's
I
the
have.
thing. I forgot.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
I think you mentioned it. I don't remember. Or am I remembering?
Oh,
So
sorry. So
What?
I don't have a VR set.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Me
Okay.
personally, I've used one
Oh,
very
Cool.
recently. I was meant like I have a category, or I have a nomination.
Have a nomination
Sorry, I
for
thought
that.
that's what we were talking
Oh,
I am saying Star Wars 100% down. Are you kidding me? Virtual reality in a cockpit in Star Wars? That's all I have to say.
no, dude, like the... What was it? You can have a... What was it called? Man, our editor mentioned it too. Like Hota? Oh man, I forgot what it's called. The fact that you can like enable like that whole setup. I want to say it, but I don't remember what it was. It starts with an H. You guys remember? Like the whole
have
like
no
you can
idea. I
have
have
like
no
the
idea what you're
pedal,
talking-
like, and then like the actual
about. Like a rig.
yeah, whole rig for it. I think it's Hotoff, or I don't remember what it's called, honestly. But having that with VR, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I think is it HOTAS? Is that the
Hotas? Yeah, Hotas. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, HOTAS.
Okay, sweet. Because that was my thing. It was like, for the whole experience, I think that'd be cool. But all of it, I don't have that. But I think that's
But-
cool if you can have both.
Like for me, it's honestly a toss up between Half-Life Alyx and Star Wars Squadrons.
Mm-hmm.
Where like Star Wars Squadrons, I think hits that one half of VR where it's like you're in the cockpit
Yeah.
and you're like flying and you're doing things like a first person, and to like a really really high degree. And on the other hand, like Half-Life Alyx hits that like I'm playing the video game, because like yeah, the movement in Alyx is really wonky, but the amount of like interaction you have with the environment,
Yeah.
I
It's top
think
tier.
is really impressive, because it's like it's the level of like you can pick up a bullet or a bullet casing, drag it on a window, and you can like scratch the window to make a message,
Yeah.
or like
it's so
draw
cool.
on glass, and that's like wild to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
really
it's,
quick.
it's literally oh sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just to read out, it's Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Marvels, Iron Man, Star Wars Squadron, and The Walking Dead. Saints and Sinners. All right, go on.
Like
Half-Life.
it's literally a 50-50 for me whether Half-Life Alyx or Star Wars Squadron gets it, because one shows off the tech and
Mhm.
one shows off like the spectacle of like when people thought of VR, like this is what I think it could be like. And it's like one, to use Star Wars, which is a great example of VR, and just the fact that you're like a pilot and not, they didn't try and play it off as like, oh, you're gonna be a Jedi and you can
Oh, because
like
they tried.
it's like no, like you
With the lightsaber.
are the pilot
Yeah,
in a squadron.
you can look around and all that. It's so cool. Because the other thing is, for like I think with Star Wars, the strong part is that you have that moment, but looking into Half-Life Alyx more a while back, I think it's just a overall, like it's the overall VR experience, right? I think that's what is like puts it a little bit over Star Wars for me. It's just because like Luke said, you can do all that, but I think it does VR well. Like I was talking about earlier, I think Half-Life Alyx is like a good action game, but a really, really like good VR game. And I think that's I would say that takes the category for me on this one. In comparison to the other. Because of course I
Cool.
wanted Iron Man, but I think Half-Life Alyx just does it better.
Just comparing the Iron Man VR to Squadron, it's just not as good.
Yeah, it's not as good.
like I think I'm gonna end up picking Alex to the chagrin of our editor, but Alex is more of like, I think it doesn't have that spectacle that Squadrons has, but it has the feeling of I'm playing the video game like in a more complete way, because it does have that more tactile response of like, here's me like I'm reloading the gun, I'm ducking and taking cover, I'm opening doors, I'm writing on stuff, I'm typing.
Yeah, like if I were to get a VR system, I would instantly get Half-Life Alex first. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I want to do.
so it's gonna be Alex for me, but Squadrons is literally like right behind it.
Yeah, like it's pretty much neck and neck. It's just I think I just put in more like which one would I buy, right? Like first. Star Wars Alex. Got it. All right, next one. Best community support. Recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates patches. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, and Valorant.
I don't really know.
I mean,
I don't play any of those games near enough to like have an opinion on community support.
Because my two would be Destiny 2 and Fall Guys on this one. Just because like Fall Guys Twitter game is actually hilariously good. And I think that's what was part of the experience, was just watching them give updates, like talk about like what they're dropping. And then Destiny 2 just does they do updates. Honestly, like they do them really well. Like just like every Thursday, at least the community understands. Like every Thursday, you'll get like the TWAB. Like this week at Bungie's, the TWAB, you'll understand what's going on. They're pretty transparent about what's going on. They're responsive to like patches pretty fast. And that's just probably me playing the game more recently. So that's how I think it's just cool. Like they do that. While every other thing is just more like, I'm sure like Apex, like patches for every other game though is just kind of like a expected thing. But it just kind of happens, right? Well, I feel like Destiny, they just put a little bit more effort in terms of that. But then Fall Guys just has like a ridiculous social media game.
Cool.
But I don't hear anything about Valorant. And then I think No Man's Sky, it's more of the same thing where it's like, I think it always just pulls back to they had like a second coming, like they actually had a comeback.
Yeah,
and that's probably what it is with the community support.
That's not even necessarily support. That's more of just it's the category above it. I think just ongoing game.
Yeah,
like I don't know how Hello Games interacts with their community, but they are still making content for the game. So
yeah, so I don't know about the community support. I mean, I'm sure they do, but it's not. I think it just kind of comes from that. I think more of the comeback.
I'm gonna say Fall Guys because it was, at least it started out like an indie company, right?
It still is, I think.
Okay. And they just to be like that and then take on an endeavor like this, like massive multiplayer game, and be able to like not have thousands of issues that would like make it unplayable.
Yeah,
like they did a pretty good job. Even they still had issues, but I think it was done really well.
No, they addressed it really well. Yeah,
I'd probably side with Ian. I'm probably gonna pick Fall Guys, but it is mainly through an indifference of all of these titles. But I do think the developers for Fall Guys they're trying, and I think that's notable to see.
Yeah. Mine was a toss up between the two, but I think more for me is just Destiny, just because. For me, I think it's just because I play it more than you guys, so I think that I just follow it a little bit more because I do follow Fall Guys on Twitter, but that's the extent of it. Cool.
Sick.
All right, next one. Best mobile game. Best game playable on a mobile device: Among Us, Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra, and Pokemon Cafe Mix.
Dog, what is Pokemon Cafe Mix?
I've never heard of it.
It's not good.
Oh, that's sad.
I don't know why it's on here.
Happy.
Legitimately, I have no idea why it's on here. I don't think a lot of people received it well.
Oh,
and
that's a shame.
Yeah, so that's just from what I've read. I don't know if that's like the consensus, obviously, because it's on here, but who knows? This is where I put down Genshin Impact, but That's just me. Maybe.
I wouldn't, because I feel like Genshin Impact just blows up your phone.
So I guess that's the thing, because when I play, so I have a S20 Plus Samsung, and it plays it really well. Like I can play it with like 60 frames per second. Because
but for how long?
Not. I was able to play about an hour, and it wasn't that like it didn't drain my battery like crazy, or it drained it, but not like oh, it's about to die, right? But I think I only say this because it's always the flip like back and forth with Genshin in that like, oh, it's also on PC, sure, but I think the main thing is like if you can play it on, like it feels like a mobile game on PC, and for a mobile game it's a lot for what it is. But that's just my reason, because I feel like you just get the most out of it. But I also haven't tried Among Us just because I played on my PC anyway, and I played Runeterra on my phone, and it's pretty good for what it is. And then I've tried mobile or Call of Duty mobile, but not too much.
Dog, I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, like
I do want to say, I want to say I'll say Genshin Impact just because from everybody that's talked to me about it, it is like a lot for a mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Cool. Luke?
I don't really care. I might just say Runeterra.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the easiest to play on mobile. Mm-hmm. Like Among Us is like you can play it, but it still feels pretty clunky.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
Genshin is a gacha game, and gacha games are bad.
Cool.
Like it's like people like they'll make the comparison of like it's a mobile game. There's just like it's just a next level, and to me, it's basically they have a gacha game, and instead of you just AFK clicking on things, you just kind of move your characters yourselves to the thing, and then they do their predetermined actions, basically. Like that's a super boiled down description, but whatever. I have mixed feelings about Genshin. Let's just move on.
Cool.
Dude, this category, we all probably have the
I
same
think we
answer.
know what's going to happen.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Best indie for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. Carry On, Fall Guys, Hades, Spelunky 2, and Spiritfarer. We're all just... I'm
going to say Hades, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying Hades.
I'm going to say Hades. I want to give a shout out to Fall Guys and Spiritfarer, though. Like, those two games are also really good.
Yeah, Spiritfarer is really good.
And then I'll give a shout out to Carrion and Spelunky 2 because both of those games are also very
Spelunky got screwed. Like it came out the week before Hades, and I think that's what happened. Like if it had more time, I think Spelunky 2 would have like been in the limelight a lot more.
Oh yeah, right. Because I mean, anyone who's a fan and played Spelunky 1, like
they're playing Spelunky 2.
They're playing Spelunky 2.
100%.
Like that game is insane.
Yeah.
The scope from Spelunky 1 to 2 is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Like this is like, yes, I think Hades is the best indie that came out, but indie games as a whole in the past like 2 years have gotten so crazy good.
Yeah.
That, like all 5 of these games are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
I agree as well.
So, I mean, like, shout out to all these indie games,
yes.
but
they're all good. It's just
it is like it's definitely just, like indies are making this ridiculous surge in popularity, and I'm super happy.
Yeah,
because I love indie games.
Cool. Putting
Samesies.
God damn.
All right, Hades for everyone. Cool. All right, best ongoing awarded to the game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Apex, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
Four of these games are just games as a service, which I just kind of inherently don't like.
Yeah.
I never really got into No Man's Sky, but I know it's doing really well, so props to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
just for me, just because I know content wise, honestly, it's like I'm just gonna say Fortnite just because they actually do have content consistently. But that's it. That's all I got. I don't have much else to say.
I would probably just throw it out to Apex because I know it's either like the new season or new whatever, but they have their new maps. I think are always really cool.
Yeah,
and their characters tend to be relatively interesting.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So
yeah,
I throw it out to Apex.
The characters are really cool.
Yeah,
well, especially I like. Sorry, Ian, I'm cutting you off. Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know if I had much more to say. The characters are really cool. They're all like super unique and interesting abilities that do change like how you fight. It changes it up. Whereas like Fortnite, it's a battle royale with building, and that's like the thing. But everybody does the same thing. In Apex, it's like everybody does their own like different things that change up the fight and the outcome, which makes it really interesting.
Guess. I think this is for me is just more like content based, like because Fortnite. I don't play Fortnite, but because they had like they had Marvel event, they had like more. They just have more events and content dropping. That's just
sure.
Yeah,
like
that's the only
I
reason
was
why
just
I'm putting it
comparing them based on like gameplay, which
yeah.
wasn't
Like,
the category. But
because there's a battle
really
royale.
like Apex.
Adding in content that is just cosmetic, I think, doesn't warrant Fortnite. I think beating out other ongoing games.
But Apex
Like,
doesn't. Apex has an issue of dropping stuff too. They actually don't. They're actually known for not having consistently dropping new stuff as much. We just happen to. We just happen to
when
start
they
now.
do drop it though, it is like pretty, like it's a decent drop
Substantial.
though.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm gonna say No Man's Sky, but
I mean, probably. I don't know enough about how they've gone.
Same. I think that's my
'Cause
issue with them.
I think recently they had a big update,
They did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
but like I never really got into No Man's Sky, so I couldn't say.
Yeah.
It's probably No Man's Sky. I'm just gonna say Apex because
Yeah.
I know Apex the best, probably.
Oh yeah. Play with us more.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Games for Impact. A thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. If found, Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition, Spiritfarer, Tell Me Why, and Through the Darkness of Times.
unfortunately, I've never played any of these, so
Oh, I'm saying Spiritfarer.
I'm saying
No
Spiritfarer
clue.
as well. It was a toss-up for me between Spiritfarer and Tell Me Why for the category, like what the category describes. But I think Spiritfarer is just does it. It's not openly. It's not like in your face about it.
Yeah, like it is one of those slow burns, and it kind
Yeah.
of
But it
it all
hits.
ties in at the end. We're
Yeah.
like, oh,
But it hits.
it's like oh, it's like a oof,
yeah,
but a good oof.
but a good oof. Yeah. So
yeah,
I think it just like because of course like you could say like Tell Me Why is I think it's more upfront about it, like with their
I think like Tell Me Why is more fun because it's like the story and stuff.
yeah the story.
But Spiritfarer, I think, ties it in like it ties
Way-
in the message with gameplay.
It's with gameplay it's way more beautiful honestly with what they do. So Spiritfarer for me. Ian.
NA, dude.
NA.
Non-applicable.
NA, baby.
Got it. All right, what's the next one? Best performance. Do we want? Best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and/or performance capture. Ashley Johnson as Ellie, Laura Bailey as Abby, Daisuke
Daisuke Tsuji?
Suji. There we go. As Shin Sakai.
Sakai, yeah.
Yeah.
Sakai.
Logan Cunningham as Hades and Najee Jeter as Miles Morales. I mean,
I've only played one of these games.
I was gonna say I know of like Spider-Man. I've seen Ghosts for a bit, but I've really only had interactions with
What
Hades.
makes me sad is like I think Logan Cunningham is an amazing voice actor, but why would they pick Hades?
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's really
Because he
weird,
he
right?
did other voice. Well,
yeah,
maybe that's the one he's had the most lines. in.
maybe I guess.
Has he done other
considering
performances this year though?
Like in Hades, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like he voiced multiple characters in Hades.
I see. Okay.
I guess,
but it might be because
it's
Hades is like
the most notable, like in terms of like presence.
Okay, so
like it's the name of the game.
He did Hades. He voiced Poseidon. He voiced Achilles, Asterius, the overall narrator, and then he played Charon, but Charon doesn't really sing.
Yeah,
right.
But like I would have picked him as Achilles probably. But I digress. I actually think it'd be Daisuke Tsuji.
Yeah.
Mainly because like I liked Logan Hunt. Like I think he's amazing. I really liked Hades, but if they picked Achilles, it'd probably be different. But
be different. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it's not even the same year, but I'm a lot more used to the Into the Spider-Verse Miles than the video game Miles, so I'm just inherently biased that way.
I'll probably say the same, just because my interaction. I just know Laura Bailey's probably gonna win because honestly she's really good, but I just have no. Probably performance-wise, yeah, sure. So, but just because I haven't played it, I don't think it's fair to say. So, it's a dice game for me. When do I pull up the NA? Like Ian. Shit.
Gasp.
Ian, what about you?
I'll go Logan Cunningham.
Logan.
Good choice.
Hell yeah. All right. Best audio design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, and The Last of Us Part 2.
Dog, I really need to play Ghost of Tsushima.
Right.
As soon as I get a PS5, I'm playing it.
Yeah.
I was putting Ghost for this.
I just need a PS5.
Oh, really? Cool. Have you like? Is there anything that like sticks out, or is it just the game in general?
Sorry, was that a question for me? Or
yeah. Oh. Like if you're picking Ghost, is there any more, like?
I think it's just like the feel, right? Like it's just like the ambience,
like the ambient music.
Yeah, it's just I think it just ties the feeling together for me at least with that. Otherwise, I'm sure people will probably pick like Last of Us or something, but I think my pick is Ghost for mostly that.
I want to say Resident Evil 3 because they have some really good like really good moments where they'll like the sound design will like really heighten the like feel and the stakes of the situation, especially whenever I forgot his name, but the dude, the big bad dude.
Oh,
whenever he like pops out, all of a sudden
Nemesis?
Things like that.
Is that who you're talking of?
What'd you say?
Nemesis.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Got it.
Okay.
Hell yeah, Luke.
I think I'd actually pick Half-Life Alyx, mainly because it's crazy impressive to have the quality of audio they have when you have to factor in your player could be moving their head like anywhere in the game. Because it still has enough like quality where like you can kind of throw stuff, and if you move your head a certain way, it'll play through the headset a specific way. I just think it's technically impressive. Yeah. Not necessarily the best, maybe, but I'm just impressed by it. So my vote's Half-Life.
Okay. Oh yeah. All right, next one. Best score and music for outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and/or licensed soundtrack. Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII, Hades, Ori, and The Last of Us Part 2.
I want to say before we get into this, it was really interesting. I had a discussion with our editor.
Yeah.
He was really upset that Genshin Impact wasn't a nomination. And I was really confused. But apparently, in his eyes, Genshin's score is just absolutely phenomenal. And he is the biggest Star Wars fan I know. And this is like, he knows Star Wars and he loves everything about Star Wars. And the fact that he would even consider like
Genshin
just comparing to Star Wars soundtrack outside of this nomination, but like compared to the Star Wars soundtrack, I was like, okay, maybe this is kind of a big, and maybe it's because I don't pay attention to the score in Genshin, but I was really surprised.
Just to hear that.
I just want to throw that out. Like, maybe ignore all these and just go listen to Genshin Impact, people. Maybe that'll be something that's game changing. But yeah, out of these 5,
I mean, so I'm just gonna say Hades. It's cool that, I mean, there's so much music that they wrote for it, for one. And they make it like in the hub world, you can actually like listen to all of it too, which is really cool.
Yep, that's cool.
My only complaint is that it's all it all sounds a little thematically samey to me, but I still really like it.
Okay.
I can kind of get what you're going for, Ian. Like, some of it does sound samey. To me, there's 3 distinct styles they go for in Hades, where it's like they have Hades, and like, because there's the leitmotif of Hades. That's the, like, when you open up the main screen, I'm not gonna sing it because it's gonna sound bad, but there's like that theme. And a lot of the like main songs kind of play off that.
And
then
like,
there's
the theme.
then there's like Orpheus, who's completely different and is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's not even necessarily like the remixed things, but there's just the other parts. Like when you fight the secret boss and it plays the secret boss's theme, you're like, whoa. I'm having like a brain blast moment. Or if you fight the Extremer Measures 4 boss, you're like, oh, this is way different than literally any other song in the soundtrack. And it's wild. Like, yeah, I'm going to pick Hades too, because the sheer quality.
Yeah, there is actually a little bit more variance than I thought. Yeah.
I think it's mainly because we spend a lot of time in Tartarus, in Asphodel, and in Elysium. You hear those things the most, but if you take the time to listen to the not going through a run music, it sounds really different.
Even the second phase of Hades, even that like is pretty cool, where they go like
bring out the
start
guitar,
getting the guitar riffs in there, and it becomes more rock, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah.
Doom Eternal is probably my second because I really like Mick Gordon, but Hades I think just is so good in terms of just what they did with the score. So Hades for me.
So Hades is my second.
You picking Final Fantasy?
Yeah, I'm picking Final Fantasy. It's only because like I think for me just playing it, like I just love the soundtrack with that, and it, like when they do certain remixes or when they tie in like old like the old songs from the OG, and they would remix it or they tied in with like certain moments, and I'm like, wait, oh shit, like the victory theme was like at a certain point, it's not always there, but they would bring that in, or like they would bring in like the house would have a certain theme. It was just the way they did. I think this is more like nostalgia baiting for me, but I mean for me that's just, I think that's why I put it up higher, just because it was just done so well.
And that's kind of what puts Final Fantasy down for me, is it's really good, but some of their music was just a remastered or redone original soundtrack, whereas literally everything about Hades is original.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what separates them for me, but that's fair.
But I think what Ian mentioned, it for me more, just because I haven't played more with as much as you guys, but I still think it is more samey to me. Like I can hear small themes, but otherwise it's pretty much kind of, you feel the transition, but it's not like drastically hugely different, right? For me, at least, to me. But not saying that it's bad. Like it's, otherwise it would have like been my pick as well, to be honest, because it's still really good overall. Cool, but that's my bias.
Next one.
Best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic direction and animation. Final Fantasy 7, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori, and Last of Us Part 2. It's pretty much hitting
Ian
like
said, "Hey, these same games keep popping up."
like
every
I said,
nomination."
it's gonna hit.
What was that? Sorry, I thought that was Ian.
No, yeah, that was me.
What?
I was like pointing out that the games just end up repeating.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all saw that looking at this.
Yeah.
But so for this one is where I'd say it's a toss up between Ghost and Hades for me on this one.
I think Ghosts, like technical wise, I think is really impressive
Yeah.
because they're going for that specific time period
Mm-hmm.
in Japan, and they represent it really well. And then the fact that they throw in that Kurosawa mode,
Yes, that's
is
that's
really
why
impressive.
That was the huge thing for me. I was like, oh, this feels like, it just takes you back, right? That's the huge, like once you have that mode on, I'm like, man, this just adds to it. But then like Hades has like such good art style that
Yeah, like in terms of creative achievement, I think Hades was like amazing because it takes Greek mythology. It took Greek mythology and did the kind of Supergiant spin where everything just looks super clean, but they also go for, oh, we're gonna have certain characters people probably have never heard of,
mm-hmm.
and then do our own take, and it just fits in seamlessly with what you expect of Greek mythology.
Yeah.
For me, it's a toss-up between Hades and Ori.
I figured as
I
much.
just, yeah, I just really love stylized, like strong stylized art. Man,
Like
I don't know that I can choose.
I'm picking Hades. I mean, I'm incredibly biased because I just love Hades, but
mm-hmm.
it's kind of what I talked about when we had our, like the PS5, Xbox Series X debut video or
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really can respect Ghost of Tsushima, like in terms of technical achievement, but the best games, in my opinion, are games that have such a unique style, kind of like Hades or Ori,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, like you can have a really high fidelity art piece, but you can also have this really crazy fantasy piece that, me personally, I like the more fantastical side than more realist.
Yeah.
But like Hades for me all the way because their art style is just so good to me.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna pick Ghost just because I think it just pops. Like it's just all around like just makes me want to like get it more after watching it. Otherwise,
Really?
also Hades.
Yeah, God, like I'm so excited to play that game on a PS5.
Dude, same. Once I get that PS5.
Yeah,
Man.
I'm gonna say Ori.
Ori? All right.
good.
Ori.
Good
I like
choice.
color palette.
Good choices.
Honestly, at this point, it's like none of these. There's not really any bad. There's all. Actually, no, it's not this one. It's the next one.
There's
Just
a
kidding.
bad choice.
We don't talk. It's okay.
Next one.
Let's see. Next. Best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in the game. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy 7, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2.
I've only heard of 12 Sentinels. I don't think I've actually played it. But I've seen that name multiple times. I think because
Yeah.
I'll see it pop up on my Steam
Mm-hmm.
page.
Same.
But I don't know anything about it. I
don't
feel
know.
kind of bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only played one of these. I know like the whole story of Last of Us Part 2, and I'm not
It's not.
a
Yeah.
huge fan.
Not a huge
like
fan.
Yeah, we all watched the like Nick and Jake video,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of points that I do agree with in terms of like a narrative structure.
Mhm.
But the only one I've actually played is Hades, and so I'm gonna say Hades.
Yeah, 100% I'm going Hades. Like, there's no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've never actually heard of Aegis Rim, so
Same.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. I might look into that, see what
Yeah.
that's about. What about you, Harrison?
And again, this is just mostly based off what I played. So for me,
Mhm.
it's like Final Fantasy and Hades.
Mhm.
Final Fantasy is just more of a retelling and just it's like retelling with like certain aspects of like additions.
Uh-huh.
So I think the way Hades, how you get the story is very good to me in Hades. So I think I'm gonna say Hades as well. Like how you're presented the story is just very fun. Like it adds to the replayability, but also like that's how you get more of the narrative, right? So for me, it's also Hades on this. It's just how it's just presented very well.
Man,
like how it tells the story.
It's different to me. It's just because it's different. So
yeah,
there's someone I know who I suggested like, yeah, I think Hades is an amazing game. Blah blah blah. And I was selling all of its good points, and he ended up buying it, and it hurt me because he basically just skips all the dialogue.
Damn,
and
that's
I'm
sad.
Like, why
that's
would
really
you ever
sad.
do that?
Dude, some people are just gameplay boys.
They are.
But I also feel sad. But
Well,
yeah,
because I told him like, you get Hades for like the narration and everything around the gameplay. Like the gameplay is super crisp and it's really fun, but it's you play the game to get the story. You don't just like I just play the game because at a certain point you just like I played the game. I kind of know what's going on.
Yeah,
it's more of I'm playing the game to get the rest of the story. Because I think he's played it once. He hasn't even touched it since. So I'm just like, oh jeez.
Oh, I see.
Darn. All right, two more boys. Two more. Best game direction.
It's food time.
Let's see. Oh yeah, best game direction. Cool. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghosts of
Ghost.
Ghost of Ghost.
This is Coast to Coast with Ghost of Ghost.
Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and Last of Us Part 2. Okay.
I'm gonna say Hades again.
Yeah.
Outstanding
Hades and then
creative
Ghost.
vision,
Ghost would be
innovation,
second.
and game direction and design. Yeah, I'm gonna say Hades too. Again, the only one I played.
Like it's also like I mean, Final Fantasy VII. It's kind of cheating because it already has a really good story from the original, so they can just like they have a frame, and they can just like pick and choose like we're gonna like with I was talking to one of our friends before this, but like we have these three characters who in the original game didn't get a lot of screen time, so we're gonna like expand their story, and it's not something it is not completely 100% original. So I think it's kind of cheating.
They already had the direction. Now it's just about what details do they alter.
I guess that's not how I view this category. But I mean, not saying like.
I mean, yeah, I think that like they're taking the category just like at face value.
Yeah.
But I think like looking into it, Final Fantasy VII has an amazing story to already kind of refer to.
Yeah.
Well, not even just story, but they also have like aesthetics of like how these characters are supposed to look.
They have the game to look at to like, what do we want our game to do with the game? Oh, it's easy.
Yeah. Because my vote for this one would be Ghost, actually. But I think it's also just because I'm to an extent a graphics core, and I like the extent of how they present
what Ghost can do.
Yeah, how they present it. Because I do agree. Like with Final Fantasy, it's just kind of like based off that. Like they have a basis, while like Ghost and Hades and everything, or Ghost and Hades is more original, somewhat in comparison. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say Ghost, and you guys Hades, right?
Yes.
I'm saying Hades.
All right.
Wow, these past few categories.
It's because it's because they start blending. They really blend.
Yeah.
Well, also it's easy because it's like the only game I've played.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right.
And then last one.
Game of the year. Recognize a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing, and Last of Us Part 2. Animal Crossing just comes back out of nowhere, and I think
it's like
I think
I'm back, bitch.
But it's because
it had that moment of like from March until like August or September.
Yeah,
Animal Crossing was the only game you would play.
Yeah,
like that and Doom Eternal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. All right, my choice is of course Last of Us Part 2.
All right, so
No, I'm just kidding. Saves. Dude, although that's going to be like the most contentious, or is contentious the right word?
what are you
Like,
trying to say?
I feel like there's a camp that really likes Last of Us Part 2, and then there's another camp of people that hate it.
Oh
And
yeah,
I feel like
no, yeah,
that's going to make this like one of the most like interesting categories.
it's gonna be fun to watch because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because there's gonna be a lot of moments where it's like, oh, Last of Us haters are like, they're there, but I don't think it's big enough to like tip it, because I feel
Yeah.
like the average player would probably be like, no, I liked it,
Mm-hmm.
because
Here's the question.
Mhm.
Well, I'll let you guys say yours first, then I'll ask.
so for me, it's Final Fantasy VII, just because for me it was the entire experience was just fun. Like I was gonna say that was the most fun I've had playing the
Mm-hmm.
game this year, because I put a lot of hours into Hades, but probably not as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that for me personally, that's a big factor. Where if I would come would I come back and play it? I would, but I think I would rather play Final Fantasy more.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Sick.
Animal Crossing has this impact for this year, but I always wonder, is it because of the pandemic, or is it
Right. Is it like people's
or
way
was
of
it
like,
actually
please
going to
let
be the
me
same exact thing?
outside?
Yeah, or was it actually going to play out the same exact way?
Mm-hmm.
We'll never know. But
We won't know.
but
Reality is
legitimately, I feel like a lot of people will end up choosing Last of Us because I don't know why. That's gonna be the toss up. But for me
Mhm.
personally, it's Final Fantasy VII. Just because for me
Okay.
it was the overall all around experience that I like in a game.
Cool. Luke. Barely.
Barely.
away from my mic because of what Ian said.
Ah.
Nah, I'm back.
He's
back.
back.
I'm back. See, like, I want to discount Final Fantasy VII because it's just not the whole game, and it really annoys me.
But so that's the thing. Like, it's for me. That's why I was, because playing the original, it's actually pretty crazy how much. I think that's what's cool for me is that they expand more on things that didn't really need to be, but the fact that it did, I think, just adds more, and it kind of adds more care to like the story and expanding on characters. I think that's important. So
Like,
because then I feel like that's usually the case, but it still feels like a full experience playing the game. Like playing
like
it through,
like
it actually
the
still
game
feels like a full
itself,
game.
it feels like a full game, but and this is once again like I'm looking at the context of Final Fantasy VII as both the original and the remake. It's like what Final Fantasy VII remake did just isn't that important in the grand scheme of, or it's important, but like I was talking with one of my friends about this. Like Final Fantasy VII remake, a lot of it is about the Midgard reactor and kind of the immediate aftermaths
Mm-hmm.
up to Aerith being kidnapped. And I mean, that's what was that 40 hours for you, Harrison? If you remember how long it took.
60.
60.
Yeah.
And in the original game, that's maybe like 3 hours. And it just feels like they did expand a lot on, oh, here's Jesse and Biggs and Wedge and some other stuff, but like it feels unnecessarily stretched out. We're just kind of like, yeah, like it's cool to see more of these characters, but like it's just a matter of like a lot of this is just super stretched out.
I guess, but I feel like it's also, if anything, it feels like it's more impactful because you actually get immersed in the world. Whereas, like, because a lot of people, it's 3 hours where you could have seen more of Midgard, but then later on you'll just get more of the other world, which I think that's fine that they condense it into one part. And then because we know, this is also for people that like, because I mean, for us, we know what's going to go on, but thinking about like other people that have this is like their first foray into like Final Fantasy VII. And I think like having some ties to like Midgar, I think is important because you then get the impact of like how important the entire journey is. But also but to me that's like really, I think it's just more like the fanboy, but also as like someone that would get into the series, I think that's just as good. Like as a movie, it's like, okay, you have some ties and it makes sense. Like it's just more impactful for the player.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, mine's Hades. I'm not gonna. I don't need to sugarcoat anymore. It's Hades for me because I'm not gonna gush about Hades. It's Hades.
I'm not. So my question is,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think it will be? See,
Oh.
because I'm kind of with Harrison on this. I think it's gonna be a toss up between Last of Us 2, and Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, actually, I don't even think Final Fantasy 7 is going to be.
Oh, you don't?
No, I think it's going to be Last of Us and Animal Crossing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I think
okay.
it's legitimately going to be Last of Us and Animal Crossing.
Really?
I do. Because
Animal Crossing?
yes,
Okay.
it's. I'm not saying because I would choose it, but I have a feeling. I just have this feeling that's going to happen. Because
you
more
feel
people,
like
because there's probably more people that played that and they're like, yeah, Animal Crossing was fun. I'm like, yes, and it because of the pandemic. I think that adds to the experience for some.
I will say there are a lot of people who wouldn't consider themselves gamers that have played Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
which
also
I
like
find interesting.
they probably aren't gonna care about Game of the Year awards.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair
No,
point.
yeah. That's the other thing is like I just have that feeling, but I don't think. But that's the other thing is, will these people actually vote for it?
Yeah.
Which
it,
then-
it was a huge phenomenon.
Yeah, like it had like
So
three
actually-
uninterrupted months of like we're the only game people are playing.
Because the one I
Yeah.
really think deserves it is Hades, but I don't know if that's going to upset like that's it's not going to tip the balance towards Last of Us
Mm-hmm.
because in looking overall, I do want Hades to win because I think they really do deserve it. To be honest.
Same.
I honestly could see it either being Final Fantasy VII or Animal Crossing. I
Mm.
think Last of Us 2 has so much like weird baggage around it, where
Yeah.
you have rabid people both defending and hating it, where it gets into this weird nebulous like, was this game actually really good, or was the controversy around the game fueling our opinions about it on either side?
Yeah.
Whereas I think Final Fantasy VII has a more, it's more nostalgic, but it's also like,
has that.
yeah, it was like we didn't really think it was weird unless like you get to the end and you get really confused.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess we will see.
Guess we will see
next
next.
Thursday,
Next
unless you're
Thursday.
playing Cyberpunk.
I'll
Haha.
watch it.
He'll do both.
Unless
He has 2 monitors.
Yes, he was directing that question to me. Shush. But
But yeah, that's our
that was
predictions.
a long one, but I mean, this is like probably one of the bigger podcast episodes.
It's
we
the
ever
bigger
do
thing,
anyway.
but it's also like it's finally something to
Yay.
do.
Yeah,
Game of the year.
this is just fun. It's just fun. Like we're probably just gonna tally it up, and the winner gets food.
Dude,
Hell yeah.
holy shit. I'm gonna get like a pizza and eat the whole pizza because I'm starving.
Hell yeah.
Like right now for the reward.
Like right now.
Yeah.
Like right now.
I'm getting food right after this.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
starving.
All right. Well, we'll just wrap it up.
Why
This
not
is a
both?
long-
I'm gonna get pizza twice.
Hell yeah. Thanks for listening. This was a super long one, but anyway, thanks for listening. You can tweet us any topic suggestions, questions, or at SuperBossPod, or even email us at superbossfeedback@gmail.com. Hit that like button, subscribe on YouTube. Just let us know how we're doing. I think I will say we probably will only have one more. We didn't think about it last week. Well, 2 weeks ago when we recorded, so we had a break last week. But we'll probably have one more episode this year, and then we'll probably take a break until the new year. So we'll come back with
Yep.
resolutions. That's a tease.
Hey.
But yeah,
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening. We're hungry. We're gonna eat. Bye
Peace.
bye
Peace.
bye
Peace.
bye
Peace.
bye
Peace.
bye.
Peace.